Hey everyone, Brandon here. We're going to go ahead and dive into an exercise where we can create an asset publisher widget template for displaying blogs on a site page. So the purpose of this is going to be to create a widget template that can display a specific asset in a particular way, like our blogs, on something like the asset publisher. So let's go ahead and dive right in. You'll see here I have my instance of Liferay up and running, so if you haven't already done that, go ahead and do that. What we're going to do is we're going to start by creating a new Livingston Life page for the Livingston Hotels and Resorts. We're going to configure an asset publisher that we place on the page. We're going to import some blogs, and then we'll go ahead and create our widget template together. So let's go ahead and go to Site Builder and Pages. It's going to be in the Site Administration section here in the menu. I'm going to click on the plus button next to Public Pages, and let's go ahead and create this widget page together. So this one's going to be called Livingston Life. Let me go ahead and click Add, and I'm going to go ahead and change the columns here to one column, and click Save. So let's go ahead and click on Go to Site here in the Site Administration panel. You may notice that I'm using the Livingston theme from Module 2. It's okay if you don't have this. It might look a little bit different, but you can work on this with the classic theme as well. So let's go ahead and click on the Livingston Life page in the navigation. And we're going to click on the Add button at the top right here. Go to Widgets, as well as Highlighted. Okay, now Highlighted is just going to contain some of our most commonly used widgets, such as the Asset Publisher. So let's go ahead and pull this onto the page, exit out of the menu here, and we want to go ahead and change the title here. So it's just as easy as clicking on the title, typing in something like Livingston Life, or you can type in Livingston Life Blogs or something along those lines. And now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and import some of our blogs that we can use for our page. So let's go ahead and open the menu. I'm going to go to Content and Data in the Site Administration section here. Click on Blogs, and then we're going to go ahead and import a LAR file from our exercises. So go ahead and click on the Options menu at the top right, Export Import. We're going to import here, and click Select File. Now, if you're not familiar with what a LAR file is, it's going to be a Liferay archive file that contains some data from the platform itself. This is just going to be an easy way for us to go ahead and add in our blogs. Now I just navigated to my exercises folder, and in my exercises folder for Module 3, we will see the blogs import.lar. So go ahead and find your exercises for Module 3. You should have been able to download that from the page. If you haven't done that, go ahead and pause the video and make sure to download the exercises. And then we're going to go ahead and open up the blogs import.lar. Click Continue, and Import. So this may take a second or so, depending on your computer's specs. So once you see that it's successful, we can go ahead and close this window here. And now we have all of our blogs available to us. So this gives us everything we need for our initial setup here. So what we want to do is we want to now create our widget display template, and then we want to go ahead and make sure to add it to the platform, and we can go ahead and check out the display from there. Now to do this, we need to go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. If you don't already have Visual Studio Code, this is what we're going to use to use some snippets. We use this in Module 2 as well. Go ahead and go to your preferences. So for Windows, this will be File, Preferences, and then User Snippets. And then for OS X, we have Code, Preferences, and User Snippets. We're going to create a new snippets file here. Again, if you're coming from Module 2, it's important that we keep this distinct from the other snippet file that we used. So click on New Snippets next to New Global Snippets file. And we're going to call this LFR Widget Templates. So we're going to do LFR-widget-templates. So this gives us our new file. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and add our own snippets for this, and it will just make it easier for us to walk through building this widget display template together. So let's just go ahead and open up our exercises folder here. You should see a widget template snippets.json. Go ahead and open that up. And we're going to copy everything in here. And then we're going to go ahead and paste it in here to our new LFR widget templates file. Once you've done that, make sure to save the file, and we can go ahead and close it right up. So now we are ready to go. We can start making our new widget template together. So let's start with the file provided in our exercises. So you should see an AP blog presentation template.ftl. Go ahead and open that up. And we have some starting code here. We have our if-else statement here. You'll actually see this if you were to use the editor on the platform. Now, it is important to note that the best experience for developers and those administering the platform is if you develop these templates within some sort of a publication process using NPM or some sort of DevOps process to make sure that your code is hosted elsewhere. And the reason for this is because that's going to make upgrading much easier than creating these widget display templates or even content templates in the platform itself and saving it to the database. Okay, so I'm just going to note that here as we're doing this. So if we were to have a GitHub repo set up here, we can go ahead and add our code, test it on a testing platform, and then go ahead and commit it to our repo, and then have it go through a deployment process. So let's just pretend that we have that set up for now. Let's go ahead and start with the first snippet here. We're going to go ahead and highlight this. Again, if you'd like to, for these steps, you can type this out yourself. You can actually see this in the exercise steps as well, but I'm going to go ahead and use the snippets here. So I'm going to type in LFR, and to make it a little bit easier for us, we can go ahead and add in widget there as well, so this will distinguish it from any other snippets that we have. We're going to go ahead and choose that first snippet. It does look like it's missing the 01, but you should see add to AP blog presentation there, so it should be the very first one. And what this does for us is it gives us the ability to display a message that there are no blogs here. These are not the blogs you were looking for if there are actually no blogs in the site itself. So this is a just in case while the asset publisher is looking to display content. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and use the asset renderer to retrieve some of that asset information. So we'll start by setting up some assignments for our widget template. So come down here into the list section, and we're going to go ahead and add in some assignments to make sure the asset renderer is getting that information. So I'm going to type in LFR. If you need to, you can do -widgets again to distinguish this from the module 2 snippets you might have, and we can go ahead and choose that second snippet there. So this is basically using the Asset Renderer API to get us information about the blog entry, the title, as well as the actual view URL. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in our div structure for the actual blog presentation. So in these steps, you can either use the next snippet, it's an optional snippet, or you can type it with me together. For this one, I'll go ahead and type it out. You can see what this is going to look like in your actual exercise steps at the bottom there. So let's start with our basic div structure. And I'm going to go ahead and add some classes up top. So we'll do column medium 4. We'll do entry card. And you can find a lot of these classes in the actual Clay documentation. So we have our top div structure. I'm going to go to the next level here. I'm going to start by just doing the basic div. I'm going to add in my class here. In this one, we're going to add some of the card classes. So card type asset. And do form check. We're going to do form check card. We're going to do form check top left. And we're going to do image card. So that gives us the classes here. And then our last div structure here. I'm going to add some classes in here as well. So this one we're going to do container dash fluid. And we're going to do container fluid max small. So this gives us our basic div structure here. Again, if you'd like, you can go ahead and use the third optional snippet here. And let's go ahead and add the code for the actual card presentation. For this one, we're going to go ahead and just add in our fourth snippet. So come in between this div that we just created. We'll type in LFR-widget. I'm going to go ahead and choose that fourth snippet there. And this will just give us some more structure here for actually displaying our blogs. So we're using some of these card classes again. We have the view URL variable being used here, and we have some information from our blog entry being used here as well. So right at the bottom here where we see this comment, type in LFR, widget, and then 05 card body. So we have our card header, we have our card body here. This contains the title as the view URL and the entry title. And then we have the subtitle here as well as the display date. So basically what we're doing at the top, again, is we're using the asset renderer to get the information we need for our blogs, and then we can just go ahead and check out the API and basically get the information needed to display our blogs here. So let's go ahead and actually add this template to the platform. Again, having some sort of publication process is best, but for our purposes, for this exercise, we're just going to go ahead and save it to the platform. So I'm going to copy this code. Alternatively, you can just go ahead and save the code here. And I'm going to go to Site Builder and Widget Templates. You should see this in Site Administration. Let's go ahead and click on New. You'll see our options here, and we can click on the Asset Publisher template. So for the Asset Publisher template here, we're going to go ahead and name this the Blogs Presentation Template. And we can go ahead and just replace this default code here with our new code that we created. Again, if you wanted to save the file, you could just choose the file and then import it that way as well. Now, the benefit of doing some development or testing on this editor is you do have access to some of these base variables. Otherwise, you can go ahead and add it in this way. You can choose the file. And again, we would recommend having some sort of publication process for this as well, so you're not immediately saving it to the database. I'm going to click Save at the bottom here. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and go to our Livingston Life blogs page. So I'm going to click Go to Site, click on Livingston Life, and now we want to go ahead and configure our asset publisher so that it is displaying our blogs with our new widget template. So let's click on Options. You should see Configuration. We're going to go ahead and click on the source drop-down. You should see asset type here. We want to make sure that the only thing that displays are the blogs entries, so go ahead and choose that. And then we want to go ahead and click on display settings. We have our display template options. At the very bottom, you should see our blogs presentation template. So go ahead and choose that. I'm going to type in 6 for the number of items to display. For pagination, I'm going to set this to regular, so as we have more and more blogs coming in, there is a way for users to go back and check out the old ones. And then we'll click Save, and we can close our pop-up here. So here we go. We have our blogs, and we have our pagination. So this is how we can control how we display certain assets on the platform using some of our widgets like the Asset Publisher. In the next exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a navigation widget template together so that we can control how the navigation is functioning on the platform. So I'll see you guys in the next exercise.